Hello, everyone. This is Terry Roberts with DMAI's Empowerment, and I'd like to thank you for joining us today. We're so excited to have with us for this special webinar today two great Minnesota boys, hardy hockey types, who have joined us to talk about creating winning events for sport and event planners. But before I introduce them, I would like to welcome also Craig Deal. Craig is with ePro Direct and ePro Meeting Apps, and we'll look forward to speaking with Craig a little bit at the end of our webinar to let you know about the advantages of maybe including some meeting apps in your sport and event plans as well. I would also just like to get a little bit of housekeeping out of the way and say that we welcome, and I know that Eric and Todd really hope to answer some of your questions, and we will sort of get through the majority of our webinar content today, and then we will welcome your questions at the end. So if you would type any questions or comments that you have in the question box as we proceed, then we will unmute you at the end and have you have a chance to ask your question, or if you don't have that capacity on your computer, we'll certainly read your questions. So first I'd like to welcome Eric. Eric is the tournament director with the Minnesota Hockey Showcase, and Eric joined Showcase Hockey in July of 1996. He's a graduate of St. Cloud University in Minnesota. And Eric's always been active in sports official and program supervisor for his campus recreation and sports camps there. But now with Showcase for 16 years, Eric is responsible for the operation of several pretty large amateur hockey tournaments, as well as the overall operations for Showcase Enterprises. And aside from hockey, Eric is an outdoorsman, an enthusiast that also enjoys fishing, hunting, and a little competitive golf, it sounds like, with Todd at times. So, Eric, welcome. We really appreciate your advocacy and joining us this morning to give a planner perspective.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm looking forward to it.
And then, likewise, I'd like to welcome Todd. Todd is the Associate Director of Sports Development with the Bloomington, Minnesota CVB, and Todd has been in Bloomington for the last couple of years. He also shares with me a long background with Marriott International, so he kind of brings to the sports and event planners in Bloomington that real solid foundation of both hotel and now CVB experience. And Todd looks forward to sharing with you not only our industry experience, but giving you some great examples from Bloomington and the great work they do there as well. So, Todd, welcome. I know you are also a soccer, hockey, and golf enthusiast, and you make Bloomington your home, so we're really excited to get your perspective as we move through today.
Thanks, Terry.
I know that just from attending DMAI's annual meeting with our members this past summer, how many CVBs or DMOs talk to us about how quickly the sports or the event segment of their business is growing. And in fact, it is the fastest growing segment in domestic tourism, all the events that are connected to sports travel. And the event planners out there, you really mean big business for our industry. And professional and college games have long represented tried and true revenue to many of the towns and cities on their rotation schedule. But it's really now become, Todd, I think you would agree, amateur and youth competitions that are really putting destinations on the travel map, and that CVBs are now starting to dedicate a large amount of their marketing dollars to not only researching but serving the sports marketplace. And many CVBs have a dedicated full-time sales professional to help sport and event planners on their staff, and about 20 CVBs currently have a sports commission or fund a sports commission division in their respective destinations. So we're really here today to talk to the sport and event planners who've been so generous to give us their time about how a CVB can really help you when you reach out to them in the early stages of researching destinations that you may be of interest. And we want to concentrate today on really three main areas. Number one, how reaching out to a CVB in a destination that you are considering can save you a tremendous amount of time in finding the right venue, and then similarly accommodations for your event, and then how you might take advantage of some additional savings and some sort of, as Todd refers to it, some sort of end-to-end solutions, and then support after you have your event venue and your accommodations in place, what else might be on the menu. And then I think pretty exciting is also access to some sports grants, some incentives, and some programs that are really designed to help your organization market and grow your events in any destination. So maybe we'll start now, put the two guys on the ice here, and start to talk about the CVB and the site selection process. And Todd, I'd like to start with you, if you would, to begin to tell the folks that have joined us today how you and destinations across the U.S. may help them find out about venues and facilities.
Thanks, Terry. I think there are several ways your CVB or your destination marketing organization can assist with your event. And first, touching on venues, CVBs have detailed information about venues and their facilities in their specific region and can help create the right package. For example, a planner might send out an RFP stating that they need 12 softball fields that have lighting and need to be within a 10-mile radius of the international airport. Your CVB has that information at their fingertips. And we hosted a large softball tournament this past August that utilized hotel accommodations in Bloomington, but played all their games in the neighboring suburb of Eagan, where there was a complex that best fit their needs. And as a CVB, we were able to pull that package together because we know what's available and what works.
And Eric, how would you weigh in on the CVB's ability to point you in the right direction for venues and accommodations from your experience?
You know, coming from out of town, if you're not familiar with the area, it's a tremendous resource to just lean on that Visitors Bureau to use their expertise and their knowledge of the local area and, you know, explore options that you might not know about. It can really alleviate any searching you do because they have the information at hand. It saves you a lot of time and energy.
And when you talk about, Eric, I'm interested because we know that planners really rely on internet. And so I'm interested in what you might think about those planners that say, you know, do I really need to reach out to a CVB when I can find much of this information online, and how you would say that your relationship perhaps with Todd or other CVBs that you've worked with enhances that maybe internet research they do on their own.
You know, the internet's a powerful tool. You're able to find, you know, a lot of information, but it's safe to say that you're not going to find 100% of the information you're looking for. Conversely, if you're dealing with a local expert, you're really able to target that need and really focus in on what you want and what you need. So, you know, in Todd's example, if they're looking for 10 fields in a proximity, or in my case, I'm looking for certain rinks in a certain area of town for a hockey event, Todd in the sports industry there locally would know firsthand, you know, where to go. Instead of me searching broadly, Todd can really, you know, offer his knowledge in a focused type manner to quickly and efficiently deliver the information that, you know, an event planner might need.
Well, and you bring up a good point, and Todd kind of leads us to our next bullet point, which is events often require relationships with, you know, key officials, venue managers. You know, sometimes you even need to get police or transportation, even fire departments involved. So how can the CVB help you with those type of relationships?
Yeah, well, your CVB likely works with, the city managers, traffic officials, park and rec, venue managers, several times throughout the year, so they have the relationships there. And I think that it's great to lean on the CVB to leverage those relationships, arrange appointments, and make it easy for the the sports planner when they come into market to meet with these officials. An example I'd like to give is in the final stages of bidding for the women's half marathon here in 2012, we coordinated a meeting with the staff on the marathon, as well as our city police, our transportation officials, our permit managers, and kind of toured the course and sat down and just kind of went through all the logistics to create a successful event.
And Eric, what about pulling a meeting like that together on your own, like to try to bring in, all the different people that you might need to host an event? And how is a call from a CVB perhaps received differently than a call maybe direct from an event planner?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, where would you begin? I imagine that would be the concern, when you're trying to orchestrate getting that many people together in one room. I mean, who do you talk to first? Who's going to be the person who's going to pull the strings for you to help you? Being from out of town, or even if you're in your own local community, you may not have that expertise or those relationships built. However, working with a convention bureau like Todd, he's got that predisposed relationship ready to go. No better person to roll out the red carpet and get that set up.
Good point. Todd, what about, I think many event planners don't really understand how CVBs work with them to maybe educate them on how they go about negotiating for their specific events, or even some of the liability in some of their contract negotiations.
Well, I think there are a fair amount of people in the CVB world that have hotel background and are somewhat familiar with hotel contracts. So, and I definitely do. I have about 12 years background on the hotel side. So in the sports market, most of my clients are not able to assume the same risks as in other markets. So I want to be very clear with the performance clauses in the contracts. So I know with Eric with Showcase Hockey, he has several partner hotels, some of which are in Bloomington and some are in the metro area. And the two of us closely review the hotel contracts for his events, just so he's aware of any performance clauses and he's comfortable, moving forward with the hotels.
Eric, what would you say about that set of eyes to help you through the liability that might be involved, especially I'm assuming as it relates to attendance draw?
Right, yeah. I mean, like Todd said, performance clauses, attrition clauses, things like that, the layperson like myself might not be familiar. Like Todd mentioned, the people involved in the convention bureau side are really, hotel-centric. They understand the verbiage, the language. They know what to look out for. And that extra set of eyes is invaluable. As an event planner, you do not want to get stuck behind the 8 ball with a performance clause that you weren't able to meet. That can really cut into revenue and the experience of the overall event.
That's such a good point. Todd, you were the one, I can't remember if it was you or Eric who brought up this point in our previous conversations, but that not all hotels necessarily are well suited to sporting events or even have the welcome mat out, and how CVBs can kind of help set planner expectations with regard to what might be best suited for accommodations that go along with the event.
Yeah, I can take that one, Eric. I think we have 38 hotels in Bloomington, and I think for sports groups, there's some hotels that offer complimentary breakfast, have swimming pools, have water parks, have certain enhancements that are going to make the attendees, for Eric's tournament, Showcase Hockey, more happy. So I think that for me, it's just educating Eric on all the different hotels and the options, and really pointing out the different amenities, especially the amenities that are specific to the sports group, and letting him choose what he thinks are going to be the best fit for his attendees.
And Eric, that guidance on, what type of amenities or what kinds of flexibility, even like to blocking rooms or certain sort of accommodations, might be important to the sports planners on the call? Did I lose you there, Eric? I may have lost a little audio on Eric. Todd, do you want to talk about a little bit about what sorts of accommodations that sports planners may find more interesting or more desirable?
Yeah, I think for our market, we have the Mall of America, and and our market, youth and amateur sports, is kind of our top niche market. So hotels that are walking distance or connected to the Mall of America are usually a big draw, just so the family has options of things to do outside of watching their children play sports. And then also, we have 2 water parks. We have that are located in hotels. We have kind of some more select service hotels that offer breakfast that are geared towards the value-oriented attendee. So I think some of those factors are kind of drive the sports planners or the sports attendees into those hotels.
And using sort of this intelligence to help pick the best, or maybe even the best assortment of rooms in various hotels, right?
Correct, yep.
Eric, do we have you back audio-wise? All right, I'm going to see if somebody can help Eric, but then, Todd, let's go on to sports grants and incentives. I was surprised to learn that how many sports grants or how many incentives are really available for event planners.
Yeah, in speaking with my peers and traveling several times each year to different industry events, I've found that sport grant programs or other financial incentives are offered by pretty much every CVB or DMO that I've talked to. They're offered to not only help defer costs with running the event, but also to help grow the event through marketing and other channels. And in Bloomington, we give away up to $20,000 per year in sport grants. And to qualify, it's really pretty simple. We have a one-page application on our website that asks for some general information about the event. And then we review that submission as a panel and award money based on different criteria, such as, is the event new to the area? Is it during a need period time? For us up here, our slower months are January, February with the climate, so that would be definitely be a need period time for us. And also, how many rooms are on peak? Are they weekend or weekday? Just kind of the flow of the pattern. So those are some of the things that we look at when we award grants. And I think this last year we probably had about 15 applications. So it's been a real positive thing for us up here.
And would you, Todd, in your experience, would this be very typical for CVBs who are focused on the sports market to have, if not exactly, but some programs that would replicate certain parts of your program, where they should be asking about monies that are set aside for sports incentives and grants?
Absolutely. There several event planners do require or have some sort of a bid fee or a cost for bringing the event in. So for more experienced planners, I think that's kind of normal. But for new event planners that are starting up an event, I think that should be one of the first questions that they ask all CVBs.
What about local organizers? I know that a lot of times that events begin to be built on a local level, where an organizer is trying to submit a bid to bring an event to their city or to have their local chapter be the host. Can you and your counterparts across the country assist local event organizers even as they are in the bid process before they even know perhaps that they're bringing the event to your city?
Absolutely. We're happy to work with them to put together a bid book, including venue options, hotel accommodations, sport grant information, maps of the area, rebates to the local organizing committee, and more. An example of that is one of the board members from our local figure skating club came to me last year asking for assistance with a bid for a U.S. figure skating synchro event for 2015, and had the chance to sit down with him, review the bid that was posted on the U.S. Figure Skating's website, and we worked closely for 3 weeks on creating a detailed bid that won us the event, and so it was a great win for us.
Well, really, and a win-win. I mean, a win for that local organization who I know wants to showcase their local expertise, and then for them not to have to do all that heavy lifting. And I see that we have Eric back. Hey, Eric, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry about that. I'm not exactly sure how I dropped the call, but I'm back.
Technology, baby. So, Eric, tell me about, Todd's just talked a little bit about event planners being able to tap into sports grants and about CVBs helping local organizers kind of get their hands around bids. Any thoughts there?
Personally, in our events, we haven't really pursued any of the grants available. We've really focused in on, making sure that we maximize our hotel room pickup so that we can, use that as a revenue source. Todd's been instrumental with that, and we'll probably get to that later. But I do understand that it's a fantastic service. We may have a little different dynamic because I'm local here in the metro area of Minneapolis, and so is Todd. So my events kind of stay consistent year to year, and I've already developed kind of a good relationship with a lot of local venues, local organizers, and really haven't had an opportunity or need to pursue anything further. But I can see where coming in, if an event planner is coming in blind, how Todd in that bid process can be so valuable.
All right. So I think we've done a good job. You've done a great job, actually, of covering sort of how to get the CVB or how to get that resource activated to help you find the venues, get in touch with the key people, educate you about contract negotiations, even some liabilities that you may be stepping into. How do you pick the best kinds of hotels that are really sports-oriented in their amenities and their options, and then, maybe getting some additional dollars for your event. And then last but not least, really letting that CVB distribute your RFP and take you through all facets of your site inspection of local hotels and local events. Todd or Eric, any comments on this last opportunity?
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to touch on, the RFPs and the site inspections. Whether you're coming in from out of town or you're not familiar with the area, or even if you are local, I mean, how many times do you have an opportunity to go visit a local hotel in the community where you already live? It doesn't happen. In my instance, we do very few site inspections. We really rely on Todd and his staff to say, hey, these properties are the properties that are best suited for your clients, your customers, and that saves us a tremendous amount of time. So instead of doing, 15 site inspections, we rely on their expertise and their local knowledge to help us and just kind of save us time and energy that we would be spending traveling and selecting these properties. So.
Eric, I think that's a great point, just kind of piggybacking off that with the savings in time. We had an example of the PGA came up here to tour some hotels for the Ryder Cup for 2016, and they wanted to see 25 hotels in a day-and-a-half period. So they reached out to me and asked me to set up appointments, 10-minute appointments at all the hotels, and picked her up at the airport. We toured all the hotels, and I think the time saving was just invaluable for her through the process. So.
And I've seen that in many destinations, Todd, where, you know, putting together the logistics of a site inspection where someone needs to get through a dozen properties in an afternoon, you know, can be pretty hard to facilitate on your own. So let's go to, all right, now we've got the event booked. Now what? And I want you to speak to how you might help planners with housing, perhaps getting the right kind of volunteers, even moving into the idea of helping them promote attendance, media coverage, and sponsorship. So I know that this is kind of a tremendous amount of material to cover, but I think that it's really important for event planners to understand that the services of CVBs don't stop once the event has been booked in the destination. Todd, you want to tee up first?
Yeah, you bet. For housing, CVB may provide housing for sports events, and if they don't provide it, they can connect you with the housing provider to handle lodging logistics, simplify a workload for the event planner, and provide revenues for the event planner as well. The Bloomington CVB uses the MeetingMax platform to provide housing, and we do about 15 events per year. 8 of those events are with Eric with Showcase Hockey, and I think Eric can speak to the fact that through our housing program, we've increased pickup for their event. We're able to track all the rooms for their events, provide additional revenues through rebates, and also reduce the workload for Eric and Showcase Hockey.
Yeah, and the first bullet point here, housing, is probably our #1 go-to as far as our events are concerned. Todd's and his staff have taken over the housing portion, which I used to do. I used to manage, 20 different bookings with properties and getting rates and tracking stays and invoicing properties to get commissions back. Tremendous amount of time I spent reconciling all that information after the event, and Todd's system came in and took that completely off my plate. It has been invaluable. It's fantastic. The amount of time it saved me and the amount of extra revenue it's generated because of the MeetingMax system has been fantastic. I think this past year we were able to increase our commission revenue by like 25%. That's without me doing any additional work. Actually, that's with me doing,
a lot less work. Yeah, that's cool. And Todd, again, housing. Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Eric, but Todd, housing assistance and support would be a pretty standard offering. Would you not agree? In destinations throughout the United States, Canada, as planners reach out to their Convention and Visitors Bureau?
Yes, it is pretty standard, and some Convention and Visitors Bureaus will do it for free, and some will have a nominal fee if they have staffing expenses or expenses for the platform that they use.
Great. And I'm sorry, Eric, to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to touch base on the fact that without Todd's help, I probably wouldn't be doing this call right now. I'd be invoicing properties.
That's great.
To get commissions paid out, which is a fantastic thing for me. I can put my feet up on the desk for a moment and talk with you guys for a half hour.
Excellent. So, Todd, any of the rest of these bullets? I know we're getting close to our time limit, but I really would like for you to take a couple of minutes to talk about additional support in terms of volunteers and attendance promotion, even how you might be able to help with some media coverage or connecting to some local folks or sponsors.
Yeah, you bet. I'll give a quick note on each of those topics. Regarding volunteers, I think most CVBs are going to have a database of volunteers that can help with your events, whether they're ticket takers or direction givers, program distributors. In Bloomington, we have 2 colleges, one with a hospitality program, and we reach out to them when we need volunteers. right now we have the Road to Sochi Olympic event coming to the Mall of America in about a week, so we're in the process of lining up some volunteers for that. And as far as attendance promotion, several different avenues the CVB can provide, personalized web page, or a landing page on the destination's website, a Facebook page, Twitter, providing mobile app or even a YouTube video. And for Showcase Hockey, we promote their events at a local hockey expo and also by doing some advertisement in a local trade publication.
Yeah, I mean, it's not only local, Todd. I mean, Todd and his staff are committed to making sure that our events succeed and that we get quality out-of-town teams. They've gone as far as saying, let's put an advertisement in a national hockey publication to try to draw more out-of-town teams. At their expense, they've done this, but realizing that their revenue stream is going to increase by getting more out-of-town teams to participate. So it's been a win-win working with the Convention Bureau and Todd to, in advertising support and getting people here.
That's great. Todd, last thoughts on media coverage or help with local sponsorships?
Yeah, CVBs are experts at helping event planners obtain media coverage to build community enthusiasm and grow attendance at their event. An example I'd like to give is we hosted the United States Ski Association Junior National Ski Jumping Championships last March in Bloomington, and the local organizing committee wanted to do something special for their opening reception but didn't have much of a budget. And they wanted to do it over at the Rotunda in the Mall of America, which is a large space over there that is usually pretty expensive to rent. And they called us and asked for assistance, and we were able to leverage our relationship with the mall, gather a local NBC reporter to cover the reception, and they brought in an Olympian speaker as well to host the reception, making both the reception and their event a great success.
That's a cool example.
To touch on the sponsor portion, Terry, when we're doing events, we're constantly looking for event sponsors. People who want to advertise with us, people who want to sponsor the event. Typically, that's a lot of cold calling. That's a lot of, hey, introducing yourself, explaining things, using the connections and relationships that Todd has. He's able to kind of partner that and forward that information onto these people so that going into a sponsor-type sale, we've already got a working relationship started.
Yeah, I think both of you have really made such a great, I guess, case, but also, I know we have a lot of different event planners. I know we have some folks from the USTA on the call today. I know that I saw a lot of third-party planners from our great partners at Helms Briscoe on the call today. So I walk away from this going, and I think, Eric, you kind of said it, like, why do all this yourself, right? Have the opportunity to have this free assistance. Don't leave those services on the table. And reaching out to the folks like Todd who represent their sports market segment throughout the great destinations that these events will travel to can really be a leg up.
Absolutely, and I just wanted to make one point in that, reaching out to your CVB first and let them get a lay of the land for your event is what I would suggest doing. If it's not an all or nothing proposition, the services that CVBs or DMOs offer are a la carte. So, just feel free to reach out to us, and we'll figure out what's going to be the best fit for your group.
That's a really good point, that it doesn't have to be all or nothing. If someone's sitting back going, well, I don't want to turn over this, or this is something that we feel like we have the staff and the expertise to do, that the services of the CVB are, as Todd, you said, a la carte, and you can pick and choose from what might be the most beneficial to support your event. So again, I just would really like to point out to the planners, the event planners that we have on the call, that we hope that you've been inspired, I know I have, by all the very specific types of help and services that Eric has benefited from in his relationship with Todd, and I know that Todd does such a great job there in Bloomington, and there's a lot of Todds out there that are really excited about bringing your event to their destination and really excited about committing to you the kind of help and assistance you need. And if you are hoping to get in touch with Todd or someone from a destination that you're considering, you can find us online at one particular web portal, which is empowerMINT.com, where you could look at multiple destinations and check for your sports contacts there as well. And this gives you an example of how you would be able to connect with one of our 880 destination experts that are trying to assist you from your contacts information and empowerment. You can go directly to offer them an RFP or even just reach out to them via email to send them your information. So I know that many of you are excited about getting your CMP credit, and you have been qualified to receive a half hour of CMP credit for Project B in that domain, and you will get an email directly from us in about 5 business days after the webinar that will give you a certificate to print as proof of your participation. So know that that will be coming your way. And I would like to thank Craig Deal from ePro Direct and ask Craig if he might say a few words about how event apps could help some of the planners that we have online today.
Thank you, Terry, and thank you to DMAI and empowerMINT for the opportunity to sponsor this webinar. Just so everybody knows, ePro Direct's been in business for over 12 years with direct marketing, and now just over 4 years in the mobile app world within the meetings and events industry. Our leadership comes from a Marriott Renaissance Ritz-Carlton background where service is paramount. In fact, our level of service is a key differentiator between us and other app providers out there. ePro Direct began with that marketing campaign, and they hit over 85,000 meeting planners that connect those planners to over 600 suppliers each year. Some of our largest clients are with Marriott, Disney, Starwood, and so forth. But to kind of paint the picture a little bit and on the theme of the sports world, let's take the Georgia Dome, for instance, and fill it to capacity. And that would still leave an additional 13,772 folks standing outside to watch the game. And 4 years ago, we surveyed that Georgia Dome and the people outside to see what the next trend they were looking forward to in the industry. And mobile apps was that overwhelming response. We then surveyed those planners and asked what key features and functionalities would they want or would like to see, and what type of ideal price point would fit or work within their budget. And we took that data comprised from that survey and built our app from that point. And our type of apps that we've been discussing and have created are attendee-focused. We designed the attendees focused because without the attendees, there's no trade shows, conventions, meetings, or events that are in the industry today. But at the same time, we also have an attention to the stakeholders from the show management and exhibitors as well, and that's useful to add for that value whenever we're faced with budget guidelines. There's revenue streams available within our apps targeting the sponsorship opportunities, whether you're utilizing a banner ad, splash pages, or even upgraded exhibitor and sponsorship listings. Like I said, everyone that works at ePro comes from a background of the hotel industry. I myself worked in many facets of Marriott hotels for over 18 years prior to joining ePro. Bottom line is that we have an app that planners told us they want. We also know how to speak their language, and we provide the service level that's expected to back it all up. So when you do choose an app and you consider ePro, keep us in mind as you investigate and let us know what we can do for you. And again, I thank everybody's time for today.
Thank you, Craig. Really, again, we appreciate your sponsorship each month and look forward to connecting event planners to you for some needed marketing apps or event apps. And I know we have a couple of questions because I've seen them coming in on the question board, so we'll turn to that. But I also want to let anyone know that is headed to Salt Lake in November, November 5th for the Teams Conference. I know Todd's headed out there, but on November 5th, Tuesday, that morning we will be offering a education session. DMAI will be offering an education session on the economic impact of sporting events. So if you're attending Teams, please look for our education session on the morning of the 5th, and we look forward to maybe getting to meet you in person there as well. Joy, want to take the chance to unmute you. I know that you may have collected a few questions either for Todd or Eric.
Actually, Terry, I have some.
Okay, Elaine.
Okay. Yes. Are there any recommendations for a first-time sporting event with no history?
Oh, that's a really good one.
All right, this is Todd. I can take that. I think we have several of those up here each year, and I think it's just trying to be as realistic as possible. A lot of times, first-time planners might think that they're going to have more pickup. They're going to need more room nights. They're going to need, and even regarding venues, they may need more fields than they're going to actually need. So we just ask them to be a little bit more on the conservative side, and we'll work with our hotels on either putting, if they're going to have no performance clauses, we'll have longer cutoff dates or some things in place to kind of protect the hotels, but just try to stay on the conservative side. And then if the numbers come in higher than expected, it's a positive for everybody.
Yeah, I would add that someone trying to start up a first-time event, definitely the first call you should make is to the local convention bureau. Let them know what your parameters are, and see if they can maybe flush out some ideas with other first-time events in the area, the size that you're looking to do, and just get kind of some feedback on what worked well and what you can do differently.
Great. Elaine, anything else?
Yeah, there's a few. So one is, what is the difference between a CVB and a sports commission?
We don't have any sports commissions in the state of Minnesota, but I can speak a little bit on what I've heard, I guess. And I think the primary difference is that they're funded in similar ways through taxes. However, sports commissions sometimes are funded through different corporations in the city, through sponsorships or through dinners and stuff like that. Sports commissions also will run events from start to finish, whereas a CVB or a DMO primarily just work with the hotels and the venues, but they don't actually run the event. I think that's probably the biggest difference that I've gathered through the industry.
Good question.
That's a great question.
Elaine, any other questions at this point?
Do we have time for two more?
Yeah, let's just, because I think, we commit to trying to get through our content, but if people want to stay on for questions, I'm more than happy to give Todd and Eric the chance to answer them. Okay,
one is, can a small sports event or individual team receive CVB assistance?
Absolutely. There's no event too small or too large that we'll work with. I think, we're happy to work with anyone, and even if it's a team, we have teams that come up and play at the University of Minnesota, which is about 10 minutes north of us, that want to stay out here in Bloomington since we have the airport out here. So we'll work with all different, collegiate, pro teams, youth teams, as well as, small tournaments, which are kind of our bread and butter out here in Bloomington.
Great. And then this one is for Eric. Eric, can you speak more about how you go about maximizing your room block in order to increase revenue? Specifically, are your events based on mandatory stay and play model?
Yeah, good question. We have a stay and play model. We don't necessarily put a gun to anybody's head when it comes to that. We want to be very user-friendly and customer-friendly. So we basically say teams are required to stay, at a partner property that we've set up through MediaMax and Todd. To maximize our room blocks, I think it's really important that we don't add too many properties as choices. What I've seen in the past is if you have too many properties and the hotels see smaller room pickup, they'll be less likely to want to work with you in the future because they haven't really reaped the benefits of that partnership or that relationship. So really making sure that you select the right properties, the right number of properties, so that these hotels get the pickup that they're looking for is a huge factor in making sure that you maintain a successful relationship between the event and the property. Does that answer the question?
I think it answers the question perfectly, Eric. And I think, again, you bring up another really good point, is that so much of the success of the meeting is determining the right parameters from the beginning, right? And, the success of the event comes from, do I have the right kind of hotels? Do I have the right number of hotels? Do I have them at the right price points? Have I done the promotion? Have I done all the things I need to bring this together as, as a successful event?
Right. Just to add a little side note, people coming in town for a youth event, like my hockey events, really put a lot of weight on where they're staying. That's a major part of their experience. So I think it's very important that you're selecting and giving options that are going to provide your event with some quality products, and that they can walk away from your event saying, we had a great time, not only because we had fun games and competitive games, but the experience of staying in this hotel was fantastic.
Another really great point, Eric, and I think that all of the meeting and event research that I read says that attendees are really no longer happy, really, to just, whether it's attend a meeting or whether it is attend an event, to just sort of do that. They want a complete destination experience, and I think that Todd's done a great job of representing not only Bloomington, but the CVB industry at large in really helping the event planners that we have that joined us today understand how the CVB can help put that entire experience together and make it a lot easier for the planner, and hopefully in the end a lot more successful for the attendee, because that's what it's all about at the end of the day. So Eric, thank you so much for putting your feet up on the desk and spending a little time with us. And Todd, thank you so much for your expertise, for all of the very specific examples. One of the comments we often get is how much our webinar attendees really appreciate being given very specific examples of how to make the topics that we talk about come alive. I think you did such a great job. So thank you for supporting us well today, for obviously taking good care of Eric and Showcase Hockey and making them a raving fan. And I hope that we've convinced a few of our event planners today that it's a good idea to reach out to the Convention and Visitors Bureau and the destination they're considering first. So thank you all, and have a really, really great day.